Hello there. Sorry I'm a bit late, but I was talking on the phone. So I actually thought about doing this video earlier today, because there were two things that I saw. One was I was looking, researching some stuff that I thought was really interesting. And then I came across another video by, what's her name? Lisa Cairns, something like that. But she's a non-duality speaker, I guess. But what caught my attention was her title, where she said she doesn't teach non-duality like she used to or something. So I was like, really? I was like, okay, like, what do you mean by that? How are you different from everybody else? And I mean, I didn't see that. I didn't see what the difference was. But so after watching that, because it looks like you know how satsangs are, right? Like you know how satsangs are, and how those things go, and how they talk, and they're really slow, and then they stop for a minute and contemplate stuff, and then they do it again. So and after that, there was another show. It was a documentary about gang violence that I watched, which was very, very, I mean, just so interesting, and very sad, and just I don't know. Which got me to thinking about how I said in the back of Firing God, how I said, so what? So what about enlightenment and all that? Well, and I've talked about the so what here, especially regarding my own personal experience. Okay. But I have on this channel, I don't know if y'all have seen it. It's in one of my playlists, but the interview I did with Rick Archer from Buddha at the Gas Pump. That was a while ago. I don't know, 2017 or 16 or something like that. It was a while ago. But in that interview, so here I'm talking about enlightenment is not special, or is it? Or is it special? So in that interview with Rick Archer, there came a point where we began talking about, I think I was telling the story about how in college, when I was getting my bachelor's degree, my teacher, he asked everybody in the classroom where they were from. And I went to Salve Regina, okay, in Rhode Island. And I was one of about 3 black people in the whole school, okay? So, of course, I was the only one in 99% of my classes, including this one. So, all the people that he's talking to, they're like, yeah, my grandma came from Ireland, we came over from Italy, my great grandfather got to Ellis Island, from Sweden or whatever, okay? Everybody said something. But when he got to me, about where I came from, I was like, Louisiana? Like, that's all I know. Like, what you want from me? Okay? I don't know. Shoot. I don't know. I have no idea. I really don't. My mama don't know. She don't know. Her mother does not know. All we know is America. Okay, that's all we know. And I was telling him I would like to know. I would really like to know, And he kind of poo-pooed at that. Like, oh, it's not a big deal. It don't even matter. Which I felt some type of way about that but he was making that statement because he knows. He knows where his folks come from. You know what I mean? So it's nothing. Like, it's not a big deal. It's just like if you live in a city where they have monuments or something. Like, I'm close to DC. People who live in at some point you stop seeing you know, the Lincoln Memorial and, you know, and all those things over there. You know, I would drive into DC every day for work. If you live, you know, you don't see it anymore. So when somebody comes and says, "Oh my God, that is so amazing," you know, you're like, what's amazing? What are you talking about? You know, the Lincoln Memorial, you know, and you're, oh, that's, you know, that's here every day. So it was that kind of situation, you know. It was that kind of situation because you're just there, so it loses its shine or something, you know. And for somebody who's never seen it before, or for somebody who doesn't know where they come from, you know, knowing that is a meaningful thing, you know. So when it comes to enlightenment, okay, is it special? So one thing that I still haven't figured out, and I'm not sure about, is why I'm still here. Okay. Because, hi, Daryl. Because I mentioned that the same way I knew that I was in eternity. Okay, let's just call it that. Didn't have to ask nobody. Okay. I also knew that if I was there for any longer than I was, that I wasn't going to be here anymore. Okay. I wasn't going to be here anymore. You know, and it started to fade away. Okay. And I was back here again. So there's something in learning. You know, I have a learning channel, right? There's something in learning and development when you are creating an environment for learning, for somebody to learn something new or to unlearn, you know, so they can relearn a thing. And it's called affective learning, right? And that's when, so there's research that says anytime you want learning to stick, you know, it has to be wrapped up in context, in emotion. It has to be wrapped up in something, okay? And I think there's something to that because, like, I remember very few things from my childhood, but the things I do remember is because I was very emotional in that moment, okay? There was I was like very angry, or I was really sick or something, you know, like there was some kind of feeling, you know. I don't know, you know, learning my ABCs, all that, you know, but these moments here that are really wrapped in emotion, like that, I get that stayed with me, that's stuck, okay? That experience I had didn't stick, not in that way, okay? And I think it's because I couldn't hold on to it like I can with the stuff that happened, you know, in my life where that's wrapped in emotion. Okay, I'm carrying that with me. I couldn't do that, you know, in that moment, you know, that like there was nothing there to hold on to, you know. And I thought it was special. I did. I thought it was because whatever the memory of it, okay, I began to wrap up in meaning, you know. I really began to pack, you know, like it was cement, just pack it up around around the memory of what happened. Okay, ain't nothing in there, but I'm gonna get me some cement and just pack it up. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to make it special, okay? Because just like the thing with, you know, knowing where I come from and all that, it was new, like it was novel, you know. It was, I'd never remembered before. Okay. So I'm trying to hold on to, you know, remembering, right? And child, but that stuff didn't work. But I thought it was, and I wanted it to be. And I'm looking at other people who are in the non-dual community, And I'm seeing that, okay, these people seem different from other people. You know, they talk different, they ask different questions, they seem so like quiet and reserved, you know, and like Muji, he wore different clothes, you know, they're different, you know, they look different, you know, they had masters and stuff, and now, you know, they seemed special. It seemed like they were different than other people who did not or had not experienced what they said they experienced. Okay. I wanted to be different because of that, but it just, that didn't stick either. I'm like, okay, because in the book, I'm like, my bill is still late. Like, what? How? Okay, when is the specialness going to kick in? Okay, and something in my life just be different. Okay. So then I was like, you know, well, maybe I went through the stage of, you know, maybe I'm crazy, like maybe that really didn't happen or anything like that. But then I got to be like, you know what, that, you know, it is what it is. But it is not, I think it's, what is his name? The old guy with the white hair who does the open secret. Him. He says that, what the hell did he say? It's an open secret. Like, it's ordinary. A lot of people say it's ordinary, right? And I gotta agree with that. Like, it's like I love this conductor. He's the guy who conducts the Minnesota orchestra. Roderick. His name is Roderick. He does some amazing conducting. I love it. But it's like going to a concert, okay? And you know, you're hearing the band. I think I talk about this in that thing that I have up on my my homepage. But so you're in there, you're listening to the song, right? But you only hear like the first minute, and then it's off, okay? Like that was pre-Enlightenment, okay? I only heard the first. And I thought that was it. That's all I heard. Okay, I'm clapping, like, okay, that was great. Like, that was really good. You know, it was kind of short, but you know, it was really good. But then one day I'm able to hear the whole thing. I mean, Roderick, he's conducting the whole thing. I heard the whole. I'm like, okay. So what I was wrong about the first time was that this was it. That this was life. Okay, that 1 minute. Okay, that's what life was all about. All the answers I needed about any question I had was in that first 1 minute that I listened. Okay, and then here I hear the whole, and I know, oh my goodness, that's totally. I forgot, like that was, you know, there's a whole song out here, and I still haven't heard the whole damn thing. Okay, now I've only heard 2 minutes of it. All right, and now I'm a whole guru. All right, able to just, you know, I'm special and you know, able to do all this or whatever. Yeah, that ain't true either. All right, so what I'm saying, so the difference between hearing the first 1 minute and somebody who heard 2 minutes, like what's the difference? Like how where does the specialness kick in for that? It's not that I know more. Okay, just because I heard or I was listening or willing, not even that, I was willing to hear. That's what it was. I was willing to hear a little bit more in that moment. Okay, and I talk about that. And I was only willing to hear because I was tired as hell. I was exhausted. Okay, trying to, you know, live my life with that 1 minute. You know, I was tired. Okay, and then that willingness allowed, you know, another minute to come through. You know what I mean? And that doesn't make me any more or better or worse or anything, you know. than anyone else, or than I was before I heard the second minute. Do you know what I mean? Because what was frustrating, was that I thought what was so frustrating was thinking that I was missing something. Thinking that I was. It's almost like the example I gave the other day, where you're in your house, but you're pretending that you're in a desert. Okay, and I'm doing everything I can to ignore the fact that I'm not in a desert. Okay, all of my energy goes to ignoring. Okay, where I'm not. Okay, ignoring where I'm not. And can you still see me? This thing is really acting weird. So that when I let my guard down, all of that energy ignoring where I'm not allowed, what was actually where I was. So it's like I got a glimpse of me being in my house. Okay. Rather than, this story I made about being in a desert. Because I let go of that ignorance for a little while. Okay. Which again does not make me special. Daryl, can you still see or hear me? Because my screen is totally black, so I don't know. Again, do this again. All right, I seem to be back. Yeah, I don't know. This thing keeps going out, but so enlightenment is only special. Okay, I think I'm back now. But as long as you can still hear me or something, I think that's okay. So enlightenment is special if I make it special. Okay, if I choose to wrap my emotions and put a whole bunch of meaning in that, and then yeah, sure, absolutely, 100%. Okay. If I want to live, and do all that, then yeah, it's special. Okay. So it just depends on what you're trying to do. Okay. Now let me tell you what I saw today with this. So apparently no, that's not true. I went to Chicago last year. I was only there for like 2 days, but it was a Women Beyond Belief conference. And I wasn't in, I didn't fly into, what's the airport? Is it O'Hare or something, Chicago? That's not what I flew into. I flew into another one like on the outskirts or something. So I wasn't like in the thick of it, okay? But I watched a documentary today about gangs in Chicago. In particular, this one young lady, what was her name? Jakira Barnes. Okay, Jakira Barnes. She was, and they made it about her because, number one, she's a girl, okay, and a gang member, and she was 17 years old when she was killed. But by that time, they think she murdered about 17 people, okay, and like Chicago is just one of those really bad, or those places that killing, just happens a lot, and it happens. It's accelerated and made worse with social media, okay? Because people get on Twitter and they say, like, if you get a message on Twitter that, okay, you're going to die today, then you're probably going to die today, unless you leave the city or the country or something like that, So it was very, I couldn't imagine being under all that stress, growing up in an environment like a literal war zone, growing up in an environment like that. But I looked at it because, they're using AI to try to predict when these things are going to happen, and all those things. So in an environment like that, enlightenment can happen. I'm sure it has, okay, in an environment like that. because it's not special. Like you don't have to be anything. You know, it's I saw another one where this man, he had just murdered a family, and the way he describes what happened to him after he did that sounds like he had an awakening experience. He said it lasted. If you heard him talk about that and didn't hear what he did right before that, okay, if you heard him talk, you would think, okay, Rick needs to interview this dude because he's clearly, something. I'm telling you, that's exactly what it sounded like to me. And what he said was, it lasted like an hour. He said for like an hour, and it was so amazing, so wonderful. He wanted it to happen again. So he thought it happened because he murdered somebody. So what do you think he did? He went and murdered somebody else and waited for it to happen. And it didn't, it didn't. But right after he took the life of a mother, I think it was one of her children, and the father. Okay? It's not special. It's not special. You don't have to be, a certain kind of whatever to see. I don't know. Like all I do know is that I was tired, and that's all I could say. I was tired. So that's what do they call that thing in recency? I think that's called recency, right? When something happens right before something else happens, so you attribute it to the thing that happened right before. Okay, I think that's what it is. Okay. But it's not because you got a master, or you following behind somebody, or you on your deathbed or whatever. That don't matter. That don't mean nothing. It doesn't mean anything. But what I do want to do, though, what I am doing, okay, is, since I got a glimpse of, and the idea that everything I know actually is not correct, okay, which is just, everything I think I like, everything. And when I say what I know, let me tell you what I mean when I say what I know. I'm not talking about what I know from reading it. The English language ain't got nothing to do with what I know. All right? Nothing. Okay? So when I say what I know, I'm not talking about that. Language has nothing to do with it at all. All right? When I got a glimpse of the idea that what I know is not all there is to know, okay, I said, okay, this is something that I want to share, okay, because I don't have to. I already said Cheryl is not necessary. Cheryl is not necessary to anybody, for anything, for nothing. Okay, Cheryl is not necessary. Okay, and the burden that idea takes off my shoulders, okay, it's just it's amazing. That was hard as hell to admit at first. It was really hard. I mean, who wants to hear that? Who wants to hear nobody needs you? But from the glimpse I got, that's what I saw. Okay, nobody needs Cheryl. Cheryl who? All right, Cheryl who? But I love it. I really do love. I love that I'm not so want to say disillusioned, because I'm still disillusioned, but I'm not so invested. That's it. Invested in in the illusion, you know. I haven't put all my money in it, you know. All my money on this one being right. You know, this is the right one. The last one, whatever it was, that wasn't right. But this one here, this is the right one. You know, I'm not invested in that, which is awesome. You know, and it's really like you're in prison. You know, with a prison you made, and you got the key in your hand, and you're not even in the thing. You're on the other side of the door. You know, it's nuts. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. You know, it's funny. You know, it's very funny. But yeah. Okay. So that's all I wanted to talk. So is enlightenment is not special unless it is. Unless you make it that, because you know, you can make anything special. Anything. I told one of my groups when I was talking about evaluation and what significance means, okay? Significance is very, very subjective, super subjective. And what I did was I brought a rock in it was a little like igneous rock, okay? And I told a story about how my grandmother, you know, when she was growing up, she found this rock. And it didn't belong. She knew it didn't belong. They're like, what would an igneous rock be? You know, in Louisiana, we don't have any volcanoes or anything like that, right? But she found it, and every time she had a good experience, you know, she had this rock with her, and she always talked about all those things and the struggle she went through, and how this igneous rock helped give her courage to do various things. And when she died, like on her deathbed, you know, she said, Cheryl, I want to give you one of the most precious things that I've ever had. You know, it might not be worth anything to anybody else, but it's worth the world to me. And I'm handing it over to you. And I showed them, this is the rock that my grandmother handed to me. And it has a lot of significance for me. Okay, somebody else may see it and just think it's just a rock. But to me, it's not. It's much more than that. Okay? Trying to explain to them what significance is. And after I told that story, I said, ain't none of that true. I found this rock on the way to the building today. Okay, that was true. Okay, I picked it up on the way to the building. But I made a whole story. Okay, people were tearing up in the audience, you know, around the table. Tearing up. I made it up on the fly. Okay, because I'm saying that's significance. Okay, significance got everything to do with the meaning you put into something. Okay, that book, Firing God, you see in the corner right there. I put meaning into this glimpse that I had, and I wrote a book about it. All right. I got a whole channel, Life Without a Witness. All right. About this ordinary thing that I have made, okay, to be something extraordinary. All right. That I've made to be something extraordinary. Okay. Can something be ordinary and extraordinary at the same time? I mean, it must. It must be. Okay. Which is why I did the other day, there is something to get. Okay. And this, I know this stuff can get super confusing and it's weird because it's like, but you said this and it's that. Child, I don't even know. My Robert Rabin, who he was also interviewed by Rick, but Robert Rabin, he was my public speaking coach. Okay. He compared this whole thing to like Disney World. Okay. And the rides. So you know, when we're born, we're in Disney World, but the only thing we're riding is the teacup. Okay, that's it. That's all we do. We're born and we live to be 75, 80, 90, having only ridden the teacup in Disneyland, Disney World. Okay, you know how much stuff they got in Disney World, child. Oh my goodness. Okay, it's called Disney World for a reason. All right. And I see that there's more than teacups here. All right. And I want other people to consider the possibility that there's more than teacups. Okay? And that's really what it's all about, right? It's not about providing answers for anything, okay? But it's considering possibilities. Considering possibilities, growing into possibilities, okay? Growing into possibilities is like Henry Ford is attributed with saying, if I'd have asked them what they wanted, they would have asked for faster horses. Henry Ford said that. If I asked the people what they wanted, they'd have said, oh, faster horses. The horses we got now are too slow. Isn't that what we do? Henry Ford was building engines, okay? Horses. It's like, what? So now you just want to go nowhere faster. Is that what you want to do? Go nowhere faster, okay? On a horse. And that's and I really like that quote. I also like George Box, who says all models are wrong, but some are useful. He's a whole statistician, okay? Every single model we come up with is wrong. Whether it's the model that the earth is round, the model of the forces of the earth, the model of the universe, the model of what a person or a human is. Every model is wrong, but some of them are useful, okay? You know, so living a life where you're not looking for what's right or wrong, but you're looking for what's most useful is a different way to view. And also, instead of solving problems, like the problem of a slow horse, the solution would be a faster horse. Instead of solving them, evolve the problem. Wouldn't you rather have a more evolved problem than a slow horse? Okay, what about a car that won't start? You know, or a car that's you know, that's out of gas or something. Isn't that a more evolved problem to have? Okay, so let's have more evolved problems. You know, and that extra minute, you know, has given me room to think about, consider having more evolved problems, okay? Now, I'm still going to have problems. Problems didn't go away, okay? But they're a different kind of they're problems related to gas mileage, and not problems related to, you know, my horse's hooves. You understand? So that's basically all I'm doing on all three of my channels, is about evolving the problems we have. Okay? How do we evolve the problem of gang violence? You know? How do we evolve that problem? So that's a different, that's a different question than how do we solve the problem. How do we evolve the problem is a different question. It requires a different kind of thinking, okay? Much more open mind, okay? It requires courage as well, you know? All right. So that's all I have for tonight. Thank you, Daryl, again for being here. I appreciate you. And I'm going to see y'all later, okay? Have a good night. Bye-bye.